Hello, and good morning, people. Good morning. How are we doing today? New week, new time, new Monday, and of course, tomorrow, Arsenal are facing Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. To be or not to be in the semi-finals. Obviously, it's already been predetermined that Arsenal are going to face Chelsea in the semi-finals over two legs in the Carabao Cup. Now the only task for us is to beat Crystal Palace tomorrow. Obviously, looking at Crystal Palace, they are not in a good form given that they just lost to 4-1 to or 3-1. Let me check quickly before it goes all wrong. But basically, they lost to Leeds over the weekend. So that was not a great look for them. Let's be real. They lost 4-1 to Leeds over the weekend, and they're not looking that great. They didn't look that great. Let's just put it that way. It looked like they also yielded their best 11 they could possibly put out. Obviously, they lost 3-0 to Manchester City before that as well. So they are on a two-game losing streak, which means Arsenal at the moment are kind of facing them a very good time. Saying that, Arsenal themselves haven't been in a very good form. Let's be real. If we take even those same two games over the course of the last week, we beat Wolves 2-1 thanks to two own goals by Wolves, and we beat Everton 1-0 with thanks to a penalty. So we haven't scored even from open play for two games in a row. One penalty has basically allowed us to win two games. And overall, the performances also have not been there. Lots of questions have been asked as well about Eze, about Madueke, about Norgard, about quite a few players who basically haven't seen the pitch in the last few games, what it feels like pretty much at all. Because also, even against Everton, Arteta made the first sub in 80th minute. He subbed on Martinelli, he subbed on who else did he sub on? Now on top of my head, again, I'm blanking a tiny bit. He subbed on. Let me check quickly. But yeah, Madueke didn't play. Eze didn't play. There were quite a few players you wanted to see on the pitch. Jesus came on in 65th, sorry, and in 80th, Martinelli and Merino in 88th came on. So ultimately, not Eze, not Madueke. Yes, Madueke, even more than anything, he got man of the match. 2 goals, 1 banger for goal against Club Brugge, and after that, he has been holding bench. And that is definitely not a great look. Obviously, the hope overall, no matter how you look at it, when we're going to play Crystal Palace, is the hope that Eze is going to start. Madueke is going to start. Maybe Saka is going to get some rest. Maybe Odegaard is going to get rest, of course. Maybe some other players are going to get some rest. The issue with this is, though, that we have pretty much no wiggle room defensively, at least, to rotate due to injuries and everything, which ultimately, at the end of the day, means that most likely we can rotate some midfielders unless Arteta decides to play Miles Lewis-Skelly in the midfield, which also hasn't been the case. He hasn't even played him as a senior player in the midfield pretty much at all, maybe 1-2 games over the course since he's been with the main squad. So definitely, I guess that is not an option for Mikel. So at the end of the day, we most likely are looking at a midfield that's going to be pretty much something we envision already, plus minus, of course, Christian Norgard, hopefully at least. We need some players on the rest. Then again, it's Crystal Palace. Very strong team, Prem proven, very strong. Again, under Glasner, they are very tough opponent. They are a very good cup team, especially. Let's be real, last year they won the FA Cup, also in Community Shield. We don't call it as a trophy, but they beat Liverpool, no matter how you look at it. And they're doing good. They were doing good just in the last 2 games. They have hit quite a bit of stumbling blocks, but against City, you maybe could expect that. Against Leeds, not so much, but Leeds at home are also at Elland Road. Very tough team to play. It's going to be tough for us out there as well. So time only will tell how that is going to shape up, of course. But yeah, people, we're going to get into this Carabao Cup talk, the player rotations, discussions, and all this good stuff. So smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. And of course, don't forget to leave your thoughts down in the live chat. Big up, Mubarak. Big up, big up, big up, big up. Let Eze and Madueke start. Yeah. Let Eze and Madueke start. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Need to answer a message. But yeah, and everything. So it's gonna be interesting because we need Eze Madueke to start because there are no other reasons why to leave them on the bench with no game time, especially in the last game. Is Arteta better serious to bring Yildiz in January? Not in January. I don't think Arsenal are going to spend 100 million on one player in January. I don't see it. The last time we were even in talks about high-end signing that is going to be 70, 80 million plus was Mudrik in January, and that was years ago. So I don't expect this January any big signings. Best case scenario, maybe a loan. Best case, unless we sell someone bigger, so we get some funding for that signing. I don't think we're gonna get anyone big in January. I don't expect, again, as always, busy January transfer window for Arsenal, and that is a bit of an issue. That is a bit of a issue, of course, because you would expect Arsenal as a big team to do something to maybe try and improve in certain areas of the team regarding the issues that we have maybe on the left wing and maybe even the midfield to some degree. Let's be real, but it isn't the case. Arsenal don't do January business pretty much at all exclusively, which is understandable and also weird at the same time. We all want all the signings to be done in January, of course, as fans. We also want as fans signings in summer. We do the signings. We want also signings in January, but due to money, FFP, PSR, and everything that goes all all together, we cannot expect to drop 300 million in summer and 200 million in January. That is never going to work like that. Unless in this January window, let's just say we sell two players, or even one, a big player for like 80 million or 70, 60 million, then we have some funding for January transfers. Maybe then we can do something. But overall, I don't expect anything this window. I genuinely don't. We are a week and a half away from the January transfer window opening up. And best case scenario, I can see maybe a loan in. I can see maybe a loan out. But Arsenal to sign a big player per se, I kind of don't see it. I genuinely don't. Maybe loan with obligation or option to buy. Maybe a youth prospect, maybe somebody like that. But to sign someone big like Yildiz, I don't think so. Semenyo already is off the cards because he looks like he's going to Liverpool. Most likely by the looks of things. Arteta as well apparently is, as much as Semenyo is an Arsenal fan, apparently Arteta is not a big fan looking at these instances. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that's going to go. Give me a sec. So yeah, we'll see how that's going to go. Let's see Odegaard and let's sell Odegaard, and get a couple of decent players. Well, that's the thing. Selling Odegaard, no matter how you look at it, it's not going to be an easy task due to wages. He's on 240 grand a week. And selling him for big money in January also, most likely is not going to be a big option. Best case scenario, what I can see, even if there is a parallel universe where Odegaard is getting sold this January, it's going to be for about 50, maybe 60 if we push it million. And that as well could be a bit diminish the amount just due to the big wages. But if we sell someone like Odegaard, someone like Martinelli for those 60 million, that's the only way I can see Arsenal signing someone big. Only way. Genuinely only way. Otherwise, I think it's going to be another snooze fest in January transfer window. Labrit. Good morning, Gooner SC. Hope you're doing well. Hope the new week is treating you well as too, my guy. Hope it is treating you as well. So we'll see. How are you feeling in this new week? How are you feeling just before Christmas with us being on the top of the table? And more importantly, tomorrow, how are you feeling before tomorrow's game against Crystal Palace? Are you feeling confident or are you feeling a bit scared or worried? Let's just put it that way. Because looking at our recent performances, there should be some stuff you are worried about, definitely regarding Arsenal. And looking at Crystal Palace as well, as big of a powerhouse they have been overall, last two games they have lost, and in both of them they have conceded 3 and 4 goals. So maybe their Arsenal should be doing well against them. On top of that, we are a very good home team. Let's be real, we haven't lost at home pretty much at all to this season, if I'm not mistaken. A draw, but we haven't lost. And if we look at the overall situation, Crystal Palace against Leeds, more or less, in my opinion, played their one of the strongest, if not the strongest starting 11 they have. So Arsenal should have a very decent chance to do well. definitely. And also depends how much we rotate, what kind of players we put out. Because I expect Madueke as a start 100%. Maybe even Yeri could be put in there and stuff like that. So time only will tell. But yeah, it was wishful thinking. It's Christmas after all. Well, Christmas list, make a Christmas list. Maybe you can see a falling star in the sky. You can make a wish regarding that. Maybe it can come true. To be frank, I don't see us going past Palace, and we also never win the title after being top of December. Yeah, yeah. I can. There is something about that. There is definitely something about that, especially I have this image as well, Pete. I have this image, and people, it's not looking very favorable regarding Arsenal. Since Gooner SC is mentioning this, we don't win titles after being top of December, right? This is the thing. This is about Arsenal, which is very worrying because from all the big teams, Arsenal is the one that definitely is breaking it big time. This is the big one. Look at this. Over half the teams who have been top at Christmas have gone on and won the league. Obviously, Arsenal in 4 previous attempts have never won the league in said circumstances. Look at United, 7 times, 5 times won the title. Last time was 2012, so Sir Alex, and that's about it. Liverpool last year, of course. Chelsea, decade ago almost, but yeah, they did it. Arsenal, look, last time Arsenal were top of the table were 2 years ago, and we didn't win the league. And we have been like that quite a few times. It happened in also 2 or 3 seasons. We were top of the table and we didn't win the league. Of course, the infamous other seasons when we should have won the league over the years, early mid 2010s, we should have won the league. We didn't. And of course, in 2020s as well, the same thing has happened. And now we are on top of the table once again. Will the 5th time be the charm? Will the 5th time be the charm for Arsenal being top of the table? And we're gonna win it. Man City have won the league 3 out of 3 times on being top of the league. Imagine that. Imagine that. Definitely, this graph in general regarding Arsenal is not looking great. Definitely not doing us any favors. Let's just put it that way. Maybe the season started in January and it ended in December. We would have a title 20. Dude, you know how many titles we could have had if we were starting if it was a calendar year type of season, because we were the champions of calendar year 22, 23 and 23, 24. We would have like 2-3 trophies by now. It would be kind of insane. Maybe Arsenal will invent a new trophy, Christmas champions. Could be, because that's so far, that's the closest we have been to becoming champions like under Arteta than we have ever been, to be honest. That is the nuts part about this. That is the closest we have been. That is the closest we have been. But hey, let's see. We will have to wait and see. But overall, about Arsenal, it is a bit of a worry. It is a bit of a worry. But we'll see. Time only will tell. Arsenal's drop-off period usually is late January, February. And we are 1 month away from that. So we'll see how that's going to go and how that's going to develop for us. That definitely time is only going to tell, of course. Also look at Villa's form and tell me they are title contenders. They are 3 points away from us. 3 points. Like, let's be real. If we play Villa at the end of the year, if we lose that game at home as well, let's be real, there's a possibility we can do that against Villa, because it is Aston Villa, actually. They're going to be on the same points as us, and Man City are going to overtake us. Like, City are 2 points behind us. Villa are 3. Like, it's one game. One game goes wrong, and we are done. We genuinely are done. And we have to play Brighton and Aston Villa in the last 2 games of the calendar year. That is the nuts part. And it's not looking great, to be honest, because we play Palace tomorrow, right? Then 4 days later, we play against Brighton at home. And then 3 days later, we play against Villa at home. So we again are entering this period where we play every 3-4 days after Christmas, which is going to be another meat grinder for Arsenal, no matter how you look at it. Because look at this. Look at the schedule Arsenal are facing right now, straight after all of this. I don't know how about we are about Ireland. The season starts in February. In and ends in for us it starts in late March, April, early April, and it basically goes on till late September, sometimes October. It's in that regard. So if any of our teams get into Europa League or Champions League or Conference League, it's hella long. I'm gonna lie. City will walk all over everybody this season. The writing's on the wall. Feels that way. Definitely feels that way. But look at Arsenal. We play tomorrow against Crystal Palace, right? Quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. 4 days later, 4 days only later, we play against Brighton. 3 days later against Villa. Then again, 4 days later, sorry, against Bournemouth. 5 days later, well, that's going to be interesting. One Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, on Thursday, or something like that against Liverpool. Then 3 days later against Portsmouth. And then we have a week break finally. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in the span of next 3 weeks. 6 games in the span of 3 weeks. That's what we have. And I'm not going to lie, except Portsmouth, all of the games are ones where we can lose drop points. Because all of these teams are bogey teams for us. No matter how you look at it, against Crystal Palace, we should be winning, but we don't know. It's a cup game. Against Brighton, we tend to struggle. It's slow. It heavily depends what type of Brighton team turns up. And let's not forget in the Carabao Cup in the previous round, before we got Crystal Palace, we should have been like 2-3-0 down in the first 20 minutes against Brighton. It could have been done by then. Against Villa in general, we struggle. Bournemouth away, that has been a mystery and a half for Arsenal. And Liverpool at home. I would be confident against Liverpool at home. Saying that, based on how we played Liverpool away, how they were struggling and how they're struggling right now, I never put it past them to do something against us, even though we do well against Liverpool at home. Overall, it's not that enticing and that convincing for me to do anything here. So out of last 6 games, I'm not gonna lie, the Portsmouth game is the most winnable one. Let's just put it that way. The Portsmouth game is actually the most winnable one. And that, for me, is a big question mark how it's going to go, how it could go. But yeah, the game against Crystal Palace, it's going to be very interesting to see how we're going to do this, how it's going to go. But yeah, we're going to do a Crystal Palace starting 11 predictions and all this stuff because, well, let's be real, we have to. We just have to, people. And we'll see. Even the games that we did win this season, most of them were not good for. Most of those games have not been good performances. Let's be real, especially the last two. They all have not been good performances, and in the last two, we have won the game. Two wins in the last 2 games. We have scored 1 goal from a penalty. Overall, in these 2 games, we have had 4 shots on target only, which already is not good, especially against the last place team in the league at home. It's definitely, there are some worrying signs. And for me, one of the biggest mysteries about all of this is the fact that Mikel Arteta, every game, every press conference after the game says, well, that they were playing slow. He wants to play them quicker, up the tempo, and do all this stuff. But every next game, we do the same thing we did before. We still play slow. We still play lethargic. We still play sideways and backwards, and nothing is changing. So I kind of don't get it. Is the message not going through the players, or it's on Mikel that he's just saying it for appearances only? Because there have been almost no change and switch of it whatsoever. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, game against Crystal Palace, starting 11 predictions. Anyone thinks how the starting 11 could go against Crystal Palace? Anyone has any specifics, what they expect, what they don't expect, what they want to see, they don't want to see, how they think it's going to go or not go? Because it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Because for me, we need to rotate. As well, not a lot, but we need to rotate. And I think we're going to start off with Kepa in goal. Kepa this season overall has played for Arsenal only 2 games, right? Both of them have been the Carabao Cup. So I would expect that to continue, and he plays, so for now at least, solely in the Carabao Cup. I would expect him to play against Portsmouth, yes, next year in the FA Cup, but for now we are still in Carabao Cup, so I think we're gonna start with him as well. We are one of the best in Europe defensive wise. If we have everyone fit, yes. If we have Gabriel, Saliba, everyone fully fit, yeah, that it's long for anyone. It is hella long. I really believe that. Same. Our problem is that we have no play or creativity forward on the pitch. Yeah, and it all starts from the midfield and then goes upwards into attack. Defensively, our midfield and defense in general as a unit works very well, very like a well-oiled machine. Let's just put it that way. It's almost impenetrable to some degree, right? Saying that, when we look at the other direction, midfield to the attack, it's disastrous to some level. Comparatively to the defense, it's like night and day. Because our defense, if it works well, if everyone's fit and everyone's in full cohesion, our attack is struggling heavily. The midfield creative part, midfield balance is off heavily. Our wingers not doing much work. It's very easy to shut them down. Our striker is, well, he's trying to, let's just say he's trying his best, but at the same time, the team is not helping him. He should be getting more chances. He should be getting more play to him, but he's not. So I guess in that regard, it is what it is. It kind of falls on Gyökeres partially himself, but also on Mikel Arteta quite heavily. There are countless instances where we could have passed him the ball, Gyökeres to score an empty net tap in, to give him a cross, very good on the first time when he's running in between the lines and nobody's marking him properly, to give him a proper chance to score. There have been countless times we could have done that, and we never have. We much rather take the ball and pass it backwards, which is a big worry. Which definitely is a big worry. We kind of play the straight opposite of how we should be playing with a designated number 9 up top. Yes, it's very evident that Mikel Arteta wants to play with a sort of a false 9 type number 9, like Havertz, Jesus, and players like that. But you would think that he actually would adapt the system and style for the time we play with Gyökeres up top. We actually play for him. And when we sub on Jesus or Havertz, we play for Havertz or Jesus. But somehow we still utilize Gyökeres to a degree as if we have Havertz or Jesus up top. And it's very evident, obviously, that Gyökeres doesn't have the link-up play. He doesn't have certain abilities on the ball that Havertz and Gyökeres and Jesus possesses. Saying that, Gyökeres at least possesses the finishing touch, something that Havertz and Jesus don't. So, best of both worlds. You have to pick. If you pick one, you lose some in the one department. If you pick the other, you lose something in the other department. So, it's pick and choose, basically. And since we don't have so-called Hannah Montana settings with the best of both worlds, like in Julian Alvarez and maybe Paulo Dybala and player like that, well, we have to pick one or the lesser evils. Let's just put it that way to some degree. Big up football rig. I don't want to see Rice, Saka, or Zubimendi. Same. If he doesn't rotate this game, it's gonna have a serious repercussions later on. I'm not gonna lie. In my opinion, we are not far away from that already, with Zubimendi and Rice and to Timber as well to some degree. Especially, we are not that far away. I think Declan Rice especially, and Zubimendi as well, already are in the red zone. And with every game they play full 90s, they are creeping up to that invisible horizon line where it will take one wrong step, tackle, something, one misplaced pass, and he has to overstretch it, and he's going to get an injury. They are all pretty much in the red zone, and we are getting to that tipping point where that red zone turns into an injury. So I really hope some players get rotated. Let's just put it that way. If you want to play possession attack, you need players that can do something on their own. Playing boring possession football without killers is pointless. Exactly. And that's why also why Eze doesn't play. Why Madueke doesn't play. Those are the two players who can actually do something with themselves. Big up Yessa. Big up Resident Chelsea fan in the stream. Big up the taxman. Big up. Ironically, they mentioned Madueke and he pops up, of course. It's like he has a sensor or something. Maybe he has a bot that filters when somebody mentions Madueke. Whoop, he pops up on the stream or something like that. But yeah, Madueke as well, as you say. You need you need possession football. You need players that can do something on their own. And yes, Madueke can do stuff on his own. He does the first part of the attack very good. The issue is the finishing touch and the final pass. It's very questionable with Madueke many times. But to get in those positions, he does a very good job. And that is the thing. We need more of that. Eze also, he doesn't have the freedom. If he had the freedom what Glasner provided him with, we would see completely different Eze. And that is the biggest worry with any player we sign, because they look fantastic in their specific system and style they play in their specific team. But when they come to Arsenal under this manager, they 99% of the time have to play completely opposite style of what they used to play, which kind of kills their vibe, kills their momentum, kills their abilities, and also kind of boxes them in a specific box, which basically, in Mikel Arteta's eyes, if you break that wall and you step outside the box, you are on his blacklist and you're done. And it's very, very poor, very bad in my opinion. We have players that could actually do something if we use speed forward. Yeah, we saw in 22-23 season, Martinelli, Saka, even Odegaard. Jesus was great. I'm now sitting here and thinking, what if we had Gyökeres in that 22-23 team? Wait, what if we had Jesus doesn't get injured? What if we had Havertz even to some degree? I know it sounds preposterous. I know it sounds far-fetched to some degree, but what if we had in one of those players in that style of football? I think we would be even more dangerous than we were then. And since we don't play that style anymore, most of our players in the attack specifically, in my opinion, are heavily underperforming, because there's no chance and there's no place on earth where you can see that Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard get double-digit goals, assists, and everything. And then in few months, they become absolutely useless to some degree. They barely can get 5 goals, 5 assists. There is no world where the drop-off to a specific player can be this dramatic and so drastic. And it's all due to the change of system and change of the style. We went from attacking expensive football to complete control defensive possession. And it really has ruined our attack in general. We just play pointless. Yeah, we play like that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey, Yasser is laughing. I don't like this. He probably heard me say something about Havertz or Madueke. Anyways, back line. And this is the thing. We have no wiggle room at the back because everyone is goddamn injured. And this is the biggest worry. Have to play Timber. Have to play Saliba. Hincapié. Only player I actually would give Skelly a time. I would give Skelly time as a left back. I'm not gonna lie. I would give Skelly minutes as a left back. Now the issue with this is, what's the midfield gonna look like? Because no matter how we look at this midfield, it might get overrun by the sheer by the quickness to some degree of the midfield that, for example, Crystal Palace's midfield possesses. Because this midfield, for me, minus Eze, who, right, spells retirement home settings. And when I say that, I mean pace. I mean only the pace. Because Norgard, for example, right? Norgard at the moment is 31 years old. If this was FIFA, Norgard would have 2 pace, 12 pace, 13 pace. Because in FIFA, as soon as you hit 30, it's like you get chopped off a leg. Seriously, how many times I've played career mode and player has 78 pace, 85 pace when he's 28, 29. He hits 30, 31, bang, 42 pace. It's like he genuinely loses a leg instantly as he turns 30 and he just hops on one leg across the pitch. And that's what feels like when we have Norgard and Merino in the midfield. Physically, technically speaking, they could deal with everything. Pace-wise, if they get hit on a counter when we play this semi-high line at times, we actually could be ruined. And it's very evident as well when we play the main squad with Declan Rice in the team, with Zubimendi in the team, even with Odegaard in the team. Rice actually covers the back line. He actually runs and tracks back when, well, our midfield doesn't. Our defense is somewhere committed forward. And that for me is a big issue, because if we get caught out, it could be very long for us. Yes, we are lucky that Sar, for example, has gone to AFCON. That's good news for us. Just like Ndaye for Everton, right? But overall, it means nothing, because they still have Munoz. They still have very good players like Munoz, Richards, Lacroix, Gehi. They have some good, but Munoz is injured, so maybe that is gonna help us. But overall, yeah, Matsetsa is gonna be a very tough one to handle. Jeremy Pino, they have Jeremy Pino, and there was a time I really wanted Jeremy Pino at Arsenal. Unfortunately, he went to Crystal Palace, but hey, I hold my hands up. I would have loved Jeremy Pino at Arsenal. He was fantastic at Villarreal. I would have loved him here. Same goes for Isco. About 10 years ago, something like that. I wanted Isco at Arsenal. People said I was dumb and deluded. To be honest, looking at our number 10s now, Isco would have been a fine option. I'm not gonna lie, I would take 34-year-old Isco. I think he's 34 at the moment, right? Isco Alarcon. 33. I would take 33-year-old Isco right now over Odegaard. I'm not gonna lie, just saying. I would do that. Big up Sachs. Big up Sachs. Hope you're doing well today, bro. Hope you are doing well. Boring, you should only work if you have players like Messi and kills like Haaland, and the players can actually... Yeah, you genuinely need high-end clinical players and high-end skilled technical players that can create for themselves and basically can take on opponents one-on-one consistently and get past them. And we don't have that. Genuinely don't. Now, I'm just going to do this, and let me know what you think. I think Trossard is back. I'm not gonna lie, I will start Gyökeres for this game. I'm gonna start Gyökeres for this game. Yes, there could be arguments to maybe start what's its face? Jesus, maybe on the left. I'm actually would be quite interested to see at some point during the season the attack three, right? The attack trio of Jesus, Gyökeres, and Saka, for example, with Eze in the 10. I would be very interested in seeing that. But hey, on that left wing, you have to do so much running. Kind of don't want to risk Gabriel Jesus losing another kneecap, as if there's anything still to lose, to be honest. But it's going to be a physical and tough game. Very physical and tough game. And I genuinely am very, very worried about it. In terms of injuries, the lack of rotation we have at the moment, and especially defensively, because that part of the side of the team is very, very, very scary, to say the least. We don't have many options to play at the back. Absolutely almost none. Because White is injured, Mosquera is injured, Magalhaes is injured. So that at the end of the day leaves us with 5 defenders. Timber, Saliba, Hincapié, Calafiori, and Skelly. Since Skelly hasn't played number 8 for Arsenal pretty much at all in the senior team, maybe 2 times, maybe 3 times. Basically, you can count it on one hand's fingers under Mikel Arteta. I don't expect him to play in the midfield at all, unless he inverts. Let's just put it that way, from the left back. I guess until Mikel Arteta at some time in future goes. As long as Mikel Arteta is here, I think he envisions Miles Lewis-Skelly as a left back, and he is going to remain there. Right? So I'm putting Skelly as a left back for the game. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But for me, the biggest worry in this game is going to be the midfield. Because Zubimendi needs a rest. Declan Rice needs a rest. That goes without saying. Right? So we should be good in that regard. One thing I'm going to advocate for, though, removing Timber and trying... Let's just put it that way. I know there is no Nichols. Well, you get what I mean, from Arsenal on this site. So maybe Nichols for the right back. That could also be a viable option to try there and play him there, because Timber as well needs a rest. You cannot play him game in, game out. And this is where we step in this very dangerous territory where too much rotation also will be a massive issue for Arsenal. because our defensive issues at the moment due to injuries are very evident. We are in this spot right now where we are overplaying our players once again. Saliba has just come back from injury, and we are overplaying him instantly. We are instantly throwing him in the deep end and hoping that he holds up until Mosquera comes back, until Gabriel comes back, until we can rotate even to a certain degree. And since we have only 5 defenders at the moment, and the rotation is pretty much none whatsoever, limited to the maximum extent, it is a worry. Let's just put it that way. It is a worry, hence why I think maybe Josh Nichols for the right back would be a very viable option, in my opinion, to see what happens. Because Carabao Cup game, we need to win this game. That goes without saying. But I think Josh Nichols could do the job. Obviously, I also expect someone like Salmon being on the bench. Maybe if we are 2-3 nothing up somehow, we can take off Hinkapie, put him on, or take off Saliba and put him on. Maybe put in some decent rotation for the youngsters. But that, again, is only if we get some decent gap between us and Crystal Palace. Because we haven't blitzed teams in the last few games. Like, overall, if you look at Arsenal's schedule and Arsenal's results, what we have had in the recent times overall, right? 2-1 against Wolves, 1-0 against Everton, 2-1 against Villa, 2-0 barely against Brentford, 1-1 against Chelsea. The last time we blitzed the team was Spurs, 4-1. Besides that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 5 games in Premier League have been so close that there have been no room for proper subs and proper rotation in general. Because if you sub on even a youngster in defense, you basically risk losing or drawing the game, which is one thing we cannot afford to do this year. That goes without saying. So in this game, I would not mind that, especially given that Crystal Palace, in my opinion, played their strongest 11 against Leeds away over the weekend. Because if you look at Crystal Palace's starting 11 in this game, let me quickly find it. Where is it? Where they lost 4-1 to Leeds, right? Listen to this. This was Crystal Palace's starting 11. Henderson in goal, Richards, Lacroix, Gehi at the back, Klein, Wharton, Hughes, Mitchell at the back in the midfield, Pino, Edin Ketsia in the 10s, and Mateta up top. So minus, most likely, if we look at this overall, if we look at this Crystal Palace team, right? Minus maybe Nketiah, that's their best 11 they can put out at the end of the day at the moment. That is their best 11 they can put out. They subbed on Jefferson Lerma, Sosa, Uche, Devaney, and Drake's Thomas, of course. Who did they have on the bench left? Well, Benitez, Canvo, Esse, Rodney. And as you can see, the injuries Crystal Palace have are their main players. Doucouré, Kamada, Munoz, obviously Riyad has an injury, and Sa is going on to AFCON, which obviously does them no favors whatsoever. Which at the end of the day means that this 11 that Crystal Palace played, maybe minus, where is it, Lerma in the midfield, and maybe Souza for the left back, you could maybe put Uche in there as well, is the best 11 they could put out. They put it out against Leeds. They lost 4-1. That was after Arsenal game, which means there is a small chance this will be more or less the same 11 they're going to put out against us, but I don't expect that. They might, because I think for Crystal Palace, they are not going to win the league. That goes without saying. Their best focus could be Carabao Cup, Conference League, and FA Cup. The cup competitions, and Glasner is pushing for that. It's very evident. Last year they won the FA Cup. Now they're in Conference League and everything. I think he's gonna push for it. So they might put out this 11, maybe plus minus some subs, but I'm not too sure. And even then, yes, their defense and goalkeeping line and midfield is very good. I think the wing backs are gettable at, especially that right side. But for Arsenal to rotate to a degree to look like this, I would not be against that. I would definitely not be against that. The team that we would put out like this should be winning, should be able to win. For me, the only job issue is the midfield. More specifically, Norgard and Merino. Let's just put it that way. And we'll see how it's going to go. We see how it's going to develop. But as I said, I wouldn't mind Josh Nichols as a right back. Obviously, Zubimendi and Rice must get rest. They absolutely must get a rest. We play in 3 days again. Well, 4 days. 4 days again. We play in 4 days after Crystal Palace game again against Brighton. Yes, it's at home, but again, it's a very tough game. Saka must get a rest. So these 3 players, I would even include Timber to that equation, because Timber has no rotation whatsoever. He has played every single game pretty much as a right back or as a center back. He is also one of those players who has had injury troubles. We are lucky that he has been pretty much fit throughout this course of the season. But we, again, are playing with fire in terms of injuries and in terms of his durability and abilities to stay fit. Because at the moment, we need him for the long run. We need Rice for the long run. We need Rice and Zubimendi and even Saka for the long run. It will do us no favors that if they start this game, if one of them gets injured and they are out for a month or 2, it's gonna basically kill Arsenal's season and kill our momentum. Because no matter how you look at it, we don't have a replacement proper one for Rice, or at the moment especially for Timber. Zubimendi as well to a degree. Let's be real. And that is my biggest concern right now. Yes, maybe we can play Josh Nichols, but can we play it long term? Definitely, it is a big, big worry. I predicted he's scoring the winning goal. Bro, don't. In his own goal, I don't mind that then. If Wilson gets me 12 plus points today, then I would have finally got 100 plus points without the chip. Damn. Yeah, but that's a big if, isn't it? That's a very big if Wilson gets you those points. It's against Forest as well. That's a big up Anfield, the red. That's a very tall order to ask for, isn't it? Very tall order to ask. You need Wilson to score 2 goals. Shouldn't be as far-fetched as it sounds, but it is very far-fetched, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, looking at this game, I am predicting Arsenal win, a very narrow win once again. As I said, in the last 5 games we've played in Premier League against Premier League sides, we have won the game by 1 goal. So I don't expect this to be much, much more different. But the issue with this is our midfield most likely is not going to look the same. And Arsenal's midfield with Rice and without Declan Rice are two completely different midfields, 2 completely different Arsenals, which definitely it's going to be a very worrying instance for me. Very worrying. Wilson brace loading, Yeah, Leeds beat them 4-1. There's no argument about that. They also put up arguably their best 11 as well to the date, because Munoz is injured and Kamada is injured. Sarr is gone to AFCON. So they are losing some of their best players and in the wrong time against Arsenal in Carabao Cup. Saying that, we struggle. We struggle big time against Premier League teams. 5 games, all narrow wins or draws. Not to mention that we have won 2 games now against Wolves and against Everton. We have scored 1 goal, and that alone was the penalty. We have had 4 shots on target in the last 2 games combined. And one of the teams we played against was at home the worst team in the league. We beat Wolves due to own goals alone. We didn't show any intent, any passion. Arteta, after every game, talks about, I would like to play quicker, push the tempo of our team to pass and move and all this stuff. Yet the next game we play, we see none of that. It's like he's just saying it to keep up the appearances. And at the end of the day, it all falls down to the manager. But if he wants to fall for that sword, it is what it is. Big up, Shane. Big up, Shane. Hope you're doing well today. Hope you are doing well this morning. Hope you have a great week. It's Christmas week as well. Hope nobody's driving you insane with all the gifts and house chores and everything you need to do, because I'm not gonna lie, I still have some stuff to do. And it's gonna be on the rush side as well. Like it's gonna be Amazon settings, 1-day delivery, and all this stuff, You, City and United lost to Villa. We didn't. Yeah, but you are 4th in the league and you are 10 points behind us. For now, It is what it is. Let's just put it that way. It is what it is. How did Ghana not? Oh, they have some big issues there. They had a shocker of qualification rounds. Technically speaking, they have very good team. Well, they used to have. They don't have that good of a team. They used to, but they definitely are in a bit of a pickle. Let's just put it that way. Where is Devine? Come on, load. They used to be very good, technically speaking, with Semenyo, with Party, with all these players. To be honest, if some of the IU of course and stuff like that, but if there were if if there were some English players who actually like change their nationalities per se, let's just put it that way. Yeah, it would be better. But look, if you look at look at the players they have, there are literally they have Salisu from Monaco. Who else is there? Apong from Nantes. There are very few I know. I'm not gonna lie, there are very few players I know these days, and I follow football quite a bit. Sulemana, obviously from Atalanta, Semenyo, Asante, and that's about it. They used to have much more players you knew. They had a much higher profile players, but they don't anymore. So it's gonna be in it's not it. Thomas Party as well. Well, let's not talk even about that. But hey, they find mother-in-law right last night here. Oh, 2 weeks. Oh, here we go. Oh, always the favorite. Always the favorite. Well, to be honest, you know the stereotypes about mother-in-laws and everything. If it's the straight opposite, you have nothing to worry about. But if it's the straight as it gets portrayed in movies and the dark humor jokes and all this stuff, right? You are in for long 2 weeks. It's gonna get hectic a tiny bit, I'm not gonna lie. Not to mention, let's be real, Arsenal lose and then something gets said the wrong way, and let's just say TVs or lamps start to fly around and everything. It could get ugly real quick. It could get ugly real quick. Like, yeah. To be honest, myself, this will be the first Christmas we won't be having people over, because over the years we usually have the Christmas dinner here, family, and everyone comes around from both sides, from my and well, not for mine to be honest, but for from the girlfriend's side and everything. We eat together, we exchange gifts and all this stuff, have a nice time together. This will be the first year we don't. It will be interesting to see the dynamic. We already have plans with the kids for Christmas, what we're gonna do, where we're gonna go, and everything. We just decided to do something a bit different this year. It's gonna be interesting to see the dynamics, how they shift and how they change. So yeah, it's not gonna be as hectic, because the previous years you stay up the whole night, you cook the meals, you iron the sheets and everything, you prepare the beds, you prepare the tables, the cutlery and everything. You prepare everything. This year, none of that. I'm not gonna lie, low-key feel happy about that. That's because that definitely takes some weight off the shoulders and definitely some extra strains off the shoulders. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, anyhow, Arsenal, like as I said, I expect a 2-1 Arsenal win. It's gonna be a narrow one, but it solely depends what's gonna happen, what type of 11 Arteta puts out. Saying that, don't be surprised if Arteta puts out Declan Rice, Yuri and Timber, Bukayo Saka, if they all play. Don't be surprised. For me, the biggest question mark will be Madueke hasn't played for 2 games pretty much at all after that man of the match against Club Brugge. Eze didn't touch the pitch as well over the weekend. What was the point in not playing them if they don't start tomorrow? That is the only drawback I have. Those 2 players must start, and Madueke must start on the right side, because Madueke is the most dangerous on the right. That goes without saying. Let's just put it that way. Gyökeres must start. I hope Zubimendi and Rice get a rest, but then again, if they both get a rest, we just know that our midfield is gonna be a shit show. The midfield of Norgard and Merino, the time we saw them against Villarreal in preseason, and we saw partially one game this season as well, still gives me nightmares. Let's just put it that way. Still gives me hell of a nightmares, and it could be a very long time. Very poor times. We will get out-muscled on many instances. Wharton, together with Hughes, with Jefferson Lerma, and everyone, they gonna be physical. Mitchell Gehi goes without saying. Lacroix, his pace, he's gonna try and cover everyone. It's gonna be hard. Richard is very good as well. A bit underrated in my opinion this season in Premier League, but again he has a bit of a mistake in him. Obviously, Mateta is always a threat. And if we start the game the same way at home, like we start against Brighton, when we should have been 3-4 nothing down the first 20 minutes of the game, they don't have Pirou or someone like Ayari, sorry, up near in the attack or something like that. They have Mateta. And if he gets in those positions that we conceded against Brighton, he is going to score. And then if it's 2-3 nothing in the first 20 minutes, like it should have been against Brighton, I'm not so sure this team has the balls to come back from. Genuinely don't. Because I tend to watch sometimes the clips of old Arsenal, and I was watching in recent times Arsenal versus Reading, that infamous 7-5 game. And I'm just looking that we are 3-0 down, 4-0 down. Theo Walcott scores and everything. Then we claw it way back. Shama scores the winner and all this stuff. And I just look at this team, how we did it, who was playing and everything. I just think, our team we have right now, which is better than the team, technically speaking, we used to have back then at the time, could not come back being 4-0 down. I genuinely don't believe so. And that for me is the biggest worry. Yes, it's kind of comparing old with the new. But then again, I'm comparing Wenger to Arteta, and that goes without saying who is a better manager, who is a better coach, without shadow of a doubt. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Very interesting to see tomorrow how things develop. Obviously, Arsenal play at 8 p.m., which at the end of the day means I'm not going to stream. Actually, ironically enough, if I don't stream this evening specifically, right, this might be the last stream I do till after Christmas. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to stream on Christmas, let's be real. Like, I know I should. No, I shouldn't. Let's be real. It's family time. It's being together with family. Definitely not going to stream. Might not even stream on 25th. Might not even stream also on that. We'll see. We definitely are going to see if I'm going to stream there or not. But for me, Christmas could be a good time to reset and everything for the stream, for recharge my batteries, because Arsenal definitely is like energy and soul draining pit to some degree, with the performances, with the interviews and everything, that it's actually sometimes getting exhausting to even talk about Arsenal. At the same time, it's something I really like, I really enjoy, and I will continue it as long as I can. Let's just put it that way. So hopefully at some point it picks up even more. It generally picks up even more. Obviously, time only will tell. Time only will see. We will see over time, but yeah. YouTube is something I really enjoy doing. It's just I wish I had more time to do it. Let's just put it that way. Streaming, making videos and stuff like that, that's something I really enjoy. I do it. I have been doing for 10 years plus now. Not maybe I didn't do it for myself before. I did it for some other people, but I do it now for myself and I enjoy it. So maybe at some point it's going to turn into something bigger, but time only will tell. Obviously, that's a wishful thinking. Then again, saying it, I can already reveal that when 2025 began, right, in early December in 2024, well, a year back, basically, at my previous job, we were asked to write 3 things down or more, right? The things I want to achieve for the year of 2025, right? And one of them obviously were regarding my family, regarding everything else. That has come true, so thank you for that. One was about my health. That also has been, well, improved, so thank you for that. And the third one was that I will reach 1,000 subscribers, ironically enough, before the year ends. And by the end of the season, of the 25-26 season, I will be on 1.5K. Those were the goals I wrote down. And I wrote some few more, but those I'm not going to reveal. I just put it that way. And I actually have achieved, well, pretty much every single one. more or less on one shape or the other form. So let's see how this kicks on. Genuinely, let's see how this kicks on for now, because so far it's been quite fantastic, to say the least. It genuinely has been quite fantastic. But yeah, enough my waffle. Let's go back to football. Let's just put it that way. Arsenal, 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 Arsenal. There have been some interesting things about Arsenal I have seen on social media. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way, because one of the weirdest things I have seen these days about Arsenal is where is it? Oh, we talked about this, but this is the thing I need to discuss. This is the thing I need to discuss, because this is something I'm not so sure how I feel about this, because Arsenal in this instance definitely is a worry. Let's just put it that way. Ars where did my screen go? Here we go. This is definitely not a good sign for Arsenal. Over half of the teams who have been top of the Christmas have gone on to win the Premier League. Arsenal, in 4 previous attempts, have never won the league in said circumstances. Look at this. Leicester have done it. Blackburn has done it. Newcastle, last time 2001. Different times, but yeah. Man City, they have been 3 times at the top on Christmas, and they have won it all 3 times. Chelsea have been on top of the table 5 times at Christmas, and they have won the league all 5 times. Liverpool have been on top on Christmas 7 times, and they have won it 2 times. And you remember the last few seasons how that went, especially the last one. And obviously, United have been on top of the table 7 times by Christmas and won it 5 times, 71% win ratio. And then, of course, then there is the black sheep that is Arsenal. We have been on top of the table 4 goddamn times by Christmas, and all of the times we have balled it big time, to big degree, unfortunately. And obviously, 22, 23, 23, 24 seasons, both of them, sadly. Of course, then there's one in 2012, 2013, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. And the one was in early 2000s, 2002, 2003 season, something like that. As well, we have screwed it all up. So this graph is a very worrying one if you are an Arsenal fan, because I genuinely believe Arsenal have this mental block where we cannot get it over the line, and the closer we get to getting it over the line, the more pressure we put on ourselves, which basically is now, I think it's at a capacity where we are very close to bursting. And I'm not talking about bursting in a positive way, but I'm talking about bursting in a negative way, emotionally. Because you can just go so many times, a limited amount of times, and coming this close to winning something and falling short until you are mentally and physically drained and exhausted, that you're gonna see a big drop off, and you will have to reset, reassess, and go again. And I strongly believe Arsenal are on the brink of that. And unless we do it this season, it might be the end of all. We might need to get more new players. We definitely should get a new manager if we fall short this season as well. And yeah, it could be long. We just need fresh eyes, fresh ideas, fresh voice, and fresh players into the team. And it's very evident that we are already exhausted, overexhausted, and overplayed in general. Big up, Tyrell. Big up, Tyrell. Hope you're doing well today, brother. Hope everything's good with you, my guy. Big up, big up, big up. Go subscribe to Tyrell. Of course, go subscribe to Shane as well. Yes, everyone who has dropped by. Big up, Hyper Protagonist. Hope Monday is treating you well too, and everything is going well this beautiful day. So yeah, but I don't know overall what to make of this stat in general, because it looks bad. I'm not gonna lie, it genuinely looks bad. If you're 4 times at the top of the table and you cannot win any of those, it's worrying. Especially we were 5 points clear in the 22-23 season. 23-24 season, we were 2 points clear. Both the see, I think it was 2 points clear. I think it was, and both times we have screwed it up. Unfortunately, we have screwed it up, and now we are looking at the same things, same instances, same positioning in the table. People are saying we're gonna do this and all this stuff, but I genuinely don't think so. Again, I don't think so, and this is the biggest reason why I say we won't win anything as much as I want to. You don't think I don't want to win something? Of course I want to. But the previous experiences, the mental blocks, the obstacles we face every single time, and ironically enough, they are 99% of the time the same ones every single season. We screw it up. We step on the same issues. We do the same things. We don't adjust. We don't do anything different. We do the same. And that for me is a big worry at the moment. Big up, Naga Gunner. Big up, Naga Gunner. Hope you're doing well today. Good morning to you too. Good evening to you too as well. Good evening, good evening. But yeah, and in terms of title race in Premier League, we are first. Yes, City are 2 points behind. Villa are 3 points behind. We have to play Villa in a week. For a week and a half. Let's just put it that way, right? First things first, we need to beat Palace. Then we need to beat Brighton. I'm not too sure how is that gonna go. We have to all out against, but I don't trust this. I don't as well. And we cannot even go all out. We need to rotate in this game. We need to. For me personally, Declan Rice, Zubimendi, Saka, and Timber, all four are in the red zone. And that red zone is so bright red that it's borderline at the tipping point of injuries, of us getting injuries. Because being in the red zone, you can be in the red zone if you get a rest. But the more you are in the red zone, the longer you stay in there, the closer you get to that tipping point where one wrong movement, one stretch, one sprint, one step wrongly turns into an injury. And not in a small injury, a long-term injury, mind you. And I think they are getting very close to that. And looking at Timber, who has no backup right now because White is injured for a few months, Josh Nichols could play there, right? Looking at what's its face? Declan Rice, he has no backup. Zubimendi's backup is what? Norgard? Oh, bloody hell. What, Rice? Rice himself is in the red zone. How can he be a backup if he's in the red zone himself? And it's not looking great. Let's be real. It's not looking great. They need rests desperately. This is 3:40 p.m. Good evening. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yep, injury is doc. It is. It is. And if we don't manage this, it might actually be too late to some degree. We can maybe delay it. We definitely can delay it to some degree. But I think it's inevitable. Unfortunately, it feels inevitable. Merino in the center mid will kill us, dude. Remember the game against Villarreal where we had the midfield of Norgard and Merino? We might be looking at this. This is low-key my predicted 11. 11 I wouldn't mind seeing against Crystal Palace. Because this 11 should be good enough to win the game. It should. Let's be real, it should. If we have the so-called best manager in the league, the so-called best squad, and the best depth in the league, then we should be able to put out this 11 to rotate to this extent even and win the game. We should. But, well, will we? That's a completely different story. That's a completely different story. That is the thing. And if you notice, I have put Josh Nichols as a right back. And that is for the sheer due fact that I want Timber to also get a rest. And with Ben White being out, Mosquera being injured, there is nobody who can play there besides Nichols. Unfortunately. On top of all that, by the way, I've seen AFTV, yes, AFTV suggesting that there is an option of Saliba playing at right back because he has done it at Marseille. So just to put it into context, a player who has just come back from an injury, you want to put him at right back. Much difficult, to some degree, more difficult position than the center back, first of all. Completely different tasks and system and style. And you're going to play who at center back then? Calafiori? Salmon? Or what? Might as well keep Saliba at center back and play Josh Nichols there then. Might as well do that. Even Kai Havertz, the bulk up return is unsure. Rather, don't. Havertz has bulked up and got more injured afterwards than ever before. That's the way you bulk up properly, right? That's the way you bulk up properly, I guess. That's how it goes, and that's how it tends to go. But hey, I guess it is what it is. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, people. But yeah, my prediction is narrow 2-1 win. Whether it's gonna happen or not, well, we're gonna have to see about that, of course. Imagine a 6'4" running down the flank, and yeah, fullback needs a lot of running. It will happen exactly. Well, you say 6'4" running up the down the flank, to be honest, but Dan Burn is 6'5" and he's playing left back at times for Newcastle. So go figure. Go figure in that regard. Let's be real. Dan Burn is like genuinely a proper Eiffel Tower running on the left, up and down the wing. Let's be real. But yeah, for Saliba to play right back, that would be, for lack of a better word, a self-destruction to the maximum degree, to some level as well, for Arsenal, in my opinion. No, 6'7", yeah. 6'7", right? The 1 9, yeah. He's 6'4", 6. Yeah, he's 6'5". He's 6'5". He is 6'5". It's actually insane. Oh no, 6'7". He's 6'7". Holy crap! And he is sometimes playing left back for them. He is sometimes playing left back for them on occasion. So wouldn't be the first time. Would not be the first time. Like FIFA settings again. You scout for a left back in the youth academy. He is like 6'9". He should be a center back, but if you convert him to center back, his rating drops. He's better as a left back. What the hell is that about? 6'9" as a left back. Holy crap. Okay, I guess it is what it is. But yeah, I expect a tough game tomorrow, to say the least. So people, I think on that note, for right now, I'm gonna end today's stream. Not sure if I'm gonna stream this evening or not. Time only will tell. Haven't figured everything out yet. But for today, I'm gonna be signing off. For now, at least. Not today, but for now, I'm gonna be signing off. So smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new around here. And leave in the comments below, if you're watching this in a playback, what are your predictions for the game. But for now, have a great day, have a great week, and see you very, very, very soon.